Hello everybody. We are going to go ahead and fill out the worksheet notes array list free response number 1. So in this video we're going to learn how to do some basic array list exercises and compare and contrast them with arrays. So we have here an array called R with the elements 10, 3, 4, 8, and this we also have on a list of integers that has 10, 3, 4, 8, but this time it's in an array list. Please note that a list can also be declared like this. So you could say list integer list equals new array list integer, or you could say array list integer list equals new array list integer. Either way will work. So let's go ahead and compare and contrast. So let's look at R first. Let's grab the second item from R and store it in a variable named temp. So here my second item is 3. So what position or index am I at? Well, in this case, I am at start at position 0 and then 1, 2, 3. Those are my positions. So I'm going to try to grab position 1. So if I'm going to do this, I need to say R1, and I want to store it in a variable named temp. What are the items inside the array? Well, since each item is an integer, I'll go ahead and say int temp equals R bracket 1. For 1b, I want to do the same thing, except I want to grab it from the list. So again, the second item, which is at index 1, but this time I want to go to a list. Well, instead of RI, I need to use the methods for array list. So this case, I will use list.get1. And then the rest of it's the same. I just go ahead and I store this in an integer variable named temp. Let's look at exercise 2a. I want to change the 4 from R into a 19. So I want to change that 4 into 19. How do I do that? Well, what I'll do is first I have to reference the item of the array. So this is at position 2. So I want to say R2 becomes, and then the item that I want, which is 19. And that's going to change this item at position 2 into a 19. Let's do the same thing, but for the list. So how do I change an item of the list? Well, I have to use the .set method to set it to a new value. So what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and say the name of the list .set and then put the index. So in this case, it's list.set and then 2 is my index. The second parameter is always going to be just the item that you are choosing. If for some reason you are confused about where to find the methods, remember that you always get the AP Computer Science A formula sheet. So what I do is I just Google AP Computer Science formula sheet, and I can actually just click on this and reference the items. So here, see, I have my array list class. So here's all my methods: size, add, get, set, and remove. So as you can see, set uses an index, and we're replacing it with whatever object we want to set it to. And then we also use get. Again, get takes in an index. So these are basically the same methods that we use. So don't forget that you can use this sheet to help you as a reference, both for your exercises and on any exams, including the AP exam. Let's look at 3a. So I'm going to scroll down. So for 3a, we are just going to swap 2 positions in an array. So let's say we have this array over here. Just as a reference, I want to be able to swap 2 items in the array. So for example, I may want to swap the 10 10 and the 8 so that the 8 goes here and the 10 goes here. But you want to be able to do this for whatever positions you want. So in this case, you will have your two positions and your method's going to feed in some array that you will want to change. Please remember that arrays do pass by reference. So you don't need to return anything for the answer to change in the main method or whatever method that you are in. Because arrays do pass by reference, if you make a change in a method, it will permanently stay there, because pass by reference means you're passing in the memory address, which means it's referencing the actual item of the array. So we've gone over this before. This is just a swap. So we make a temporary variable and grab the item from position 1 in the array, make the item from position 1 become the item in position 2, and make the item of position 2 become the temporary variable. Now, some of you may want to you find it easier to use two temporary variables, in which you just go int temp1 is the item in the array at position 1. Your second temp variable is the item at position 2, and then you just say the item at position 1 will become temp 2, and the item at position 2 will become temp 1. So you may do the method this way as well. 3b is basically doing the exact same as 3a, except you are using an array list instead of an array. So basically, all you have to do exercise 3b is to translate either piece of code into array list form. And just like arrays, array lists also pass by reference. So you don't need to return anything for the answer to change value, because once you change it inside the method, it will permanently change. So go ahead and do exercise 3b on your own as an activity. Also, make sure to scroll down and do exercises 4 and 5. I can give you hints on that in the next video. Thank you.